Good noon. It's a great pleasure for me to host the conversation for a year in faith-based placemaking with conservation architect Pankaj Modi. He would be sharing about the living cultural landscape of Shravanabelagola, which is located in Hassan district in Karnataka. So it's a place where religion survives in the form of people, time, and faith. Welcome, Architect Pankaj.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Would be glad to share my thoughts. Yes. So we'll go ahead with first a little bit of a video on Shravan Belgola that we had prepared as part of Team Conte during the 2006 Mahamastat Bisheka, which will introduce you to Shravan Belgola, and then we can take forward the conversation.
Time and its passage, cyclical and eternal. With the dawn of a new day, it's yet another day in the sleepy hamlet of Shravanabelagola. Cuddled between the two hills of Vindagiri and Chandragiri, the town of Shravanabelagola at once evokes a deep sense of respect. Amidst the bustle of the village folk are the Jain monks and nuns whose life is awe-inspiring. Jainas eke out their existence in meditation to achieve their goal towards the higher truth, that is, being free from the karmic cycle of life and death. The Jain philosophy purports that the soul is trapped in a chain of bondages and has to be freed and purified before salvation can be achieved from the cycle of existence. And this can be achieved by shedding desire of all kinds. The path to liberation lies in following the path of right faith, leading to the comprehension of the right knowledge, and this in turn leading to right conduct of non-violence, tolerance, compassion, non-possessiveness, austerity, and penance. The people who have liberated their soul are known as Siddhas. There are 24 Tirthankaras in this era, the first one being Adinatha, and the last one is Mahavira. These liberated souls are the central figures of worship in any Jain temple, which is known as a basati. Shravanabelagola, an ancient town with an even ancient history of 2,300 years. Today, it is known for the biggest monolithic statue of Gomateshwara, an important pilgrimage center for all Jains. Believed to be carved in 981 AD by the Ganga general Chamundaraya, this 58 feet 8 inches in height statue stands tall and majestic on top of the Vindagiri hill. Rocks and boulders in Shravanabelagola in themselves speak an epic, each having inscriptions on them, etching out the life of a Jaina. Epitaphs on stone, though eroded with time, yet engraved for posterity. Quite literally, the Chandragiri hill is holy because of it being a place where innumerable persons after Bhadrabahu have practiced penance in this isolated place and observed the ritual of Sanlekhana. The atmosphere of the place, while being spiritual, was also linked with this ritual of Samadhi. Sanlekhana is an act of strict adherence to religious principles, a courageous process that demands unshakable fortitude. According to Somaveda in his work Yashastilika, a person who wants to take Sanlekhana first chooses a secluded spot. Then the person reduces his intake from the solid food to only liquid, to only water, and then slowly stops all nourishment and observe a complete fast till death.
The Shutakevadi Bhadrabahu, who was this eighth successor of Mahavira and the great emperor of India, Chandragupta Mauryan, these two great souls, they came to Shravanabelagola and lived here and attained Samadhi, Salekhana, or if they died here, according to the Jaina system of Salekhana, Samadhi, Marana. Voluntarily death, that says.
Flowering trees, in some way symbolic of the forest deities, and in a way pay homage to the Jainas of yesteryears. All through the way, one can see footsteps imprinted on the rock. In fact, the rocks and boulders each tell a story of those who performed Sanlekhana. These are commemorative motifs or tablets and footprints or memorials known as Nishidhi. The largest number of Nishidhis can be found in Shravanabelagola. These Nishidhis date from 6th century to the 19th century.
So now, just before I get into Shravanabelagola and talk more about it, we need to just understand that in Jainism there are broadly two sects, so two groups. One is the Digambar group, the photograph you can see on the left, and they don't wear any clothes, so they believe in that we have to be without anything, any attachment of even clothes and so on. And on the right is the Shwetambar, who moves around with a white robe, white fabric, which they put around them. So these are the broad two groups. However, they all worship the same Tirthankars who are there. And again, within them, there will be some subsects. For example, there will be groups which don't worship the form of Jina or the Tirthankara because they don't know the form of. So there are people who worship temples and go to temples and worship idols, but there are people within Jainism who actually do not worship a form of idol. So these are the subsects which you'll find within these two groups that are there. Now, having said this, and knowing that Jains are the ones who follow Jina, or those who have achieved the salvation, moksha, through the right path. So we come to Shravanabelagola, and the story of Shravanabelagola is quite interesting. It almost goes back to 2,300 years when Sage Bhadrabahu is moving from Bihar. So they get this thing that there is going to be a famine in Bihar, and they move with that. They start moving out. One group goes towards the west, one group comes towards the south, and Sage Bhadrabahu is the one who is leading a lot of disciples and followers, including Chandragupta Maurya, and they come towards this area. And when they're crossing this place, Shravanabelagola, he stops over here knowing that his end is close and that he won't be able to continue more. So he tells his followers to carry on while he would rest here and continue his meditation. And it is also said that Chandragupta Maurya stays back with him over here. And the hill at the bottom, so basically Shravanabelagola's landscape is largely these two hills of Vindhyagiri and Chandragiri, which are what makes this landscape very interesting. So the smaller hill called the Chandragiri, which is on the bottom right, is where Sage Bhadrabahu stops and starts doing his meditation in a cave. Even today, if you go there, you can see this cave on the left, and which also has his footprints. And this story is actually carved in one of the temples here, called the Katle Basadi, where there's a perforated screen in stone, and you can see all these carvings which are there, which are actually conveying the story of Saint Bhadrabahu moving towards this area. And as I said, it is also mentioned that Chandragupta Maurya was his follower, and even he comes here. And there are, okay, so this is the view from the top of Chandragiri, where the footsteps are said to be where Chandragupta Maurya has done his meditation and attained nirvana from this point. And from here, you can, on the far off side, see what we know as the Vindhyagiri hill, where the statue of Shravanabelagola or Bahubali is actually made. So this is where the smaller hill becomes very significant. When you have Sage Bhadrabahu, Chandragupta Maurya, and hundreds of monks after them, other people who have come here and have done meditation, have attained Salekhna, and for almost since 2,300 years, there has been continuous worship which has been happening on this hill. And to commemorate that, there have been a lot of temples that have been built by kings later over the time. Also here, if you're visiting, there will be nishidis or memorials which mark which are the markers for the people who have attained Salekhna over there. It could be monks. There have been generals who have come here and meditated and attained nirvana. So this is the most sacred landscape for almost 1,300 years before Vindhyagiri becomes into prominence. So this is what is on top of the Chandragiri hill. These are the temples which have been built by different kings over different time periods. And these are the Nishidi stones, which are the markers for those who have attained Salekhana. So there would be very inscriptions which mention their name, what positions they had in the society. So here on the south, if you see the map of Shravanabelagola, is the smaller hill called the Chandragiri. And on the top or north, you can see is the Vindhyagiri hill, which is the larger hill. And in between that is where the town has evolved over last thousand years. And what's happened in the last 1,000 years is that though for 2,000 years, Chandragiri hill has had importance of monks coming, praying, meditating, which happens even today. It's on Chandragiri hill that in the 10th century, Chaundaraya general actually gets a monolith carved out of a boulder there, which is the tallest statue on top of a hill of Bahubali. This is like 58 feet tall statue, which is a monolith and carved out of a single boulder. And that brought a lot more prominence to this place. And because of this, you started finding that people came here, settled here. We had the town that came up. We had a matha, which is the institution which manages this place, which manages the rituals, which manages the festivals. So you have Swamiji who leads, Bhattaraka Swamiji, who heads this institution, whom you heard in the video earlier. Unfortunately, he expired some time back, but he was leading the matha for a very long time. So this is where Vindhyagiri becomes prominent and the Shravanabelagola town starts becoming very prominent with many more people coming and settling here. So this is what has evolved over the time. You see, this is the monolith on top of the hill. And over the time, there have been kings who have patronized Jainism, and they have come and added few more temples on top of this hill. They've added the compound wall, gateways, uh, and the rituals continue to happen even today over here. So this is the Oracle Basadi on top of the hill, and this is the Tyagada Kampa, beautifully carved pillar which stands on top of this on the hill en route to Gomateshwara or Bahubali's statue. Bahubali, by the way, is the first son, is the son of the first Tirthankar, Adinatha. Adinatha had two sons, Bharata and Bahubali. And when he relinquished his kingdom and went for penance, he gave his kingdoms to his two sons. And Bahubali is said to be the one who's the first Keval Gyani, or the one who has attained who's the first person who's attained Nirvana. And therefore, he has a huge prominent place in Jainism. And this particular slide, you can see the images from the town where there are temples which are built within the town. The beautiful Bandara Basadi, there are the pillars here. There is a nice mantapa with a lot of intricate stucco work. And then you have the Matha, which is Matha with the Chandranath Basadi temple. So Basadis are the temples of Jains. So in this region of South India, most of the Jain temples are called as the Basadi. So here, this is the Bandara Basadi, or you can call the Chandranath Basadi and all these. Again, as I said, as the place has had its continuity, a lot of kings till recent times have added to this place, given the prominence of Jainism. And here you can see the continuity of the worship where the monks come here. In fact, there is a time period of 4 months during the rainy season called the Chaturmasa, when the monks come and actually reside. So in Jainism, during the Chaturmasa, the monks don't move, right? Otherwise, they're always on the move, going from one place to the other. And when they come here and rest, they do their prayer, they do their meditation, they interact with the devotees, the pilgrims who come here. Then they also give discourses in the town and so on. And here you can see them at the footsteps of Gomateshwara, carrying out their rituals. Here, there on the other right side, there are the male monks and the female monks who are coming back after their prayers on the smaller hill of Vindhyagiri and sorry, the Chandragiri, and are going back to their place of stay. So this continuity is there even today, and that is what is very interesting about Shravanabelagola, where it's not just the prominence of the statue of Gomateshwara, the monolith, that this place is really famous. But more important point is that this place is of very huge prominence as a place of devotee, as place of pilgrimage for the Jainism sect. And these are the devotees who come, pilgrims who come to climb the hill. There are these various dolis which are arranged, which can be arranged for them. There are continuing festivals which happen in the town during different occasions of Jain festivals. This is during the Mahavir Jayanti. And one of the very prominent festival is the Mahamastakabhisheka, which is conducted once in 12 years. Now, you know that every idol, there will be an Abhisheka which is done every morning. But given that this is such a tall statue, monolith of 58 feet, it's not possible to kind of do the Abhisheka every day. So this was devised that there will be one Mahamastakabhisheka which will be carried out once in 12 years. And this ritual has started from 980 AD itself, when CE, when this statue was made or carved out. And it's a continuing practice even till date. For every 12 years since then, there has been this ritual of doing Abhisheka to the god with different materials. It can be milk, it can be coconut water, it can be sandalwood, it can be turmeric, and so on. So a lot of material is kind of poured as part of the Abhisheka over the god. And as I said, this is a continuing festival. And that is the prominence of Jainism even today as part of the continuity. And there's a small video which I would like to share, which talks about the same thing.
The religion of Jainism has come a long way, stood the test of time. It is especially relevant in this modern day where violence, unrest, and turmoil prevail. The message of ahimsa, non-violence, and detachment, symbolized by Bahubali, is perhaps the beacon of hope that Jainism offers. A balm for the restless soul of modern man.
So that was really interesting to know about how the place has gained its prominence. And we would like to hear of how the different communities, I'm sure that there are different sects or groups of people who are residing in Shravanabelagola, apart from the prominent group being Jainism. And how do these people have their own sense of belonging to this town?
Can you please stop sharing the screen, Soumya? So it's again quite an interesting thing that if we look at this as Jainism, pilgrimage center for Jainism, that we would think that there's a large population which is only Jains, but it's not so. If you see this place, there's only about 16-17% of the population which are the Jains, and there's a lot of other population which is there. Which happens in like many other towns where, once there are opportunities which are created, there will be other communities who come and settle there and look at these opportunities to serve the pilgrims who are coming here, or get involved in other activities which are for the locals. So there are a lot of other communities which are doing these kind of services for the people of the town, or some of them are involved for the services of the devotees and the pilgrims who come here. Considering the Jains who are here, most of them who are here are kind of involved a lot with the uh, religious activities of uh, the idol of the two hills, and the temples down there, to carry out the rituals, to do the daily prayers. So there are the priests who are there. There are the matha which is there. So there are a lot of activities which the matha is doing. So these people are kind of employed by the matha. There are a lot of, matha has kind of expanded, going beyond just doing the religious rituals into a lot of other social activities, like creating educational institutions and creating hospitals and so on. So many of them find work opportunities there, those who are in the rest of the population or the communities who are settled here.
So we could very well understand the coexistence of different social sects
Absolutely.
and the different beliefs. That's really interesting to know.
Absolutely. With huge respect, because it's only because of the respect which they all have is where you see the continuity of this religion happening in this place. When you find hundreds of monks who come here during those 4 months, when pilgrims come and reside here, when the Mahamastakabhisheka happens, it's like lakhs of people who come, and it's like almost a temporary city which gets established over there. So this coexistence kind of leads to the sustaining of the religion and its activities. And it has been doing so for many years and centuries now.
So how do you think the contemporary society has integrated with this traditional lifestyle, or do you think there are certain measures that could help in the holistic integrity of the contemporary society that would help to connect the youngsters to the place?
Okay, I think I'll use the example of Mahamastakbhisheka,
Hmm.
which is continuing, for, as I said, for since the idol was carved out, uh, it's gaining more and more popularity even today. There is the number of people who come here have increased many folds. And due to lack of opportunity for everyone to do Abhisheka, we find that the Matha and the administrations have expanded from it being a one-day event to extending it for a few months, where every Sunday the Mahamastakbhisheka continues. So everybody gets an opportunity. And people across the world come here during that time. So this continuity of the religion in its practice can be seen through the way numbers have only increased over the time. And also to add, in Jainism, that we see today the number of people who are taking up monkhood are have increased, and many of them are youngsters, and many of them are professionals who are just believing in this idea of uh, giving up everything to attain moksha. So this clearly shows that there is a lot of interest in people to follow this religion of people from the sect. However, I may not, uh, I should confess that at the same time, it's not that we are seeing an increase in Jain population. That's not happened. But given the connection of the Jain sect uh, with the place, that's definitely strong even today.
And having such a great prominence in terms of coexistence and faith, how do you think the place has been able to engage the public? So I have also read a few articles which says a lot of people from the metropolitan cities do come away here for different purposes. It acts as a recreational retreat space, etc.
Not really so. I mean, it may be a very, very small population who may look at it a recreational spot. But yes, there is definitely a sense of awe and interest in this particular statue, which is, a 58 feet tall monolith on top of a hill, which definitely wants people to come and see it. So even we as a Carnelian group, where we do our tours and all that, we find a lot of people who are non-Jains who are interested in understanding this place, religion, wanting to see this beautifully carved statue, and they would join for it. So yeah, I mean, it's that interest in this particular monolith and idol which does attract uh, people to come here, and also the whole idea of seeing a festival during once in 12 years, of seeing something like a Mahamastakbhisheka to happen. It's a sense of awe which it creates. Um, so this is what I see. The nodal point, the point which even today makes this place, an important center uh, for Jains as well as for others to come here, is now is now the statue which is there and the festivals connected with it. While for many of the Jains, they would like to come here during those 4 months when a lot of monks are there, to meet them, to listen to them, to attend the discourses, to go to the even smaller hill. So just to give you an idea, like many of the population, you also have a lot of these KSTDC conducted tours, which go to Belur, Halebi, Shravanabelagola as a one-day tour. Um, so the main attraction remains the Vindhyagiri hill, where the Gomateshwara statue is. Yeah. So it's like they will come, climb that hills, and then go back to another place for visit. But when it comes to Jains, whose belief is much more linked to the place, both the hills become important. They would want to visit the smaller hill also and the bigger hill. So with whether it's the monk or the devotees. So you see, it's like how faith is kind of giving importance to the two hills and the temples there. And so,
Yeah, so faith is the connection that connects the place over time
absolutely.
and space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what is the message that you would convey to placemakers for safeguarding such cultural towns or cultural places, or for?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone, I would say that if you are visiting any place for that matter, be this religious place or be any other religious place, I think the first thing is the respect. Respect for that faith. And second is to understand the place from that faith perspective, or understand the people from the faith perspective, understand the food they eat from that faith perspective, understand why monks are moving without clothes from the faith perspective. And only then your respect for the place will increase. You'll be able to kind of appreciate what is happening over there, why there are some places created for certain activities, why some hills are just not a place for a trek, but have a lot of faith. I mean, if you have to remove your footwear and climb, the larger hill or the smaller hill, it's the faith which is deciding that. You can't be considering that I'm going to trek up with wearing these sports shoes and so on, but it's the faith which is determining how one actually moves in a place or connects with the place. So I would say, yes, understanding the faith and respecting it, and then seeing the place emerge from that context of understanding of that particular religion. Without that context, it will be very difficult to give a sense of uh, respect to the place. Any place, or as I said, it's just not about the place, it's about the people, it's about the food, it's about a festival, it's about the monks, it's about the rituals. Everything is centers around that.
So it's a city, the entire cultural landscape is like a living ecosystem, we could say.
Yeah, and this living ecosystem is underlined by the word faith
Yeah.
of a specific religion, so which has created this complete ecosystem.
Thanks a lot. It was a really interesting conversation to get to know the cultural town of Shravanabelagola. And
Anytime.
on
Yeah.
behalf of the team, we would like to thank architect Pankaj and his team, and also Team Conte, who has made this video. And thanks a lot for being with us and sharing this interesting journey.
Thank you so much.